Welcome Windows UniVerse EDA customer. This video will explain how to work with PostgreSQL Server. On UniVerse 12.1 or 12.1 on some other early UniVerse version already provide a lot of EDA solution to against some other database like Oracle, like a SQL Server, like a DB2, MySQL. Then right now we start to support PostgreSQL Server. And this video only demo on the Windows environment using UniVerse 12.1 against another PostgreSQL Server 12.4 version. So how you work with the UniVerse with the PostgreSQL Server. So on the UniVerse side, we need to have one driver called count driver. Then we talk to PostgreSQL Server client. And it's very important file called EDA configuration file is defined in the UV home directory. So we only support one particular database can work with EDA client. So how it works is you do database engine with EDA count driver, then talk to the PostgreSQL ODBC client driver, then talk to remote PostgreSQL server. So first on UniVerse side, you must have an EDA license to work with the EDA solution. So you can run UV region -z option to show you the database. The next step will be define the EDA config file in the UV home directory. On Windows side, they have no tool, basically just using any editor tool to create 3 lines. Driver equal ODBC, driver name equal POSTGRES, and log level by default equal 0. You can change to other option. You can see the EDA menu to see other option like a 0, 1, 3, 8. They have a different logging parameter to show you the different logging. And I will using one particular customer GRE file. Is basically the same customer file. So next step, you must have some PostgreSQL server on your environment. Then you can use the select version command to see what PostgreSQL server version running on your environment. On Windows side, will be you can download ODBC client from PostgreSQL website, and after you download it and install it, and you can create a system DSN and make a test connection to see your ODBC client can connect to your PostgreSQL. So after ODBC DSN set up correctly, the next step you can start to EDA schema manager tool and create the EDA data source. For my test line, we're using EDA data source name called PostgreSQL, and using previous define the system DSN called PostgreSQL 30, and to create the EDA data source. After you create the EDA data source, so next step will be to mapping the UniVerse file for my sample file called customer GRE, and then we're mapping everything as by default. We'll create 2 tables. One is called customer GRE, and that is customer GRE underscore order MV table. So next I will explain it and demo one by one. So first step, I need to connect to your UniVerse engine. I right now is already installed a particular UniVerse 12.1 on this window box. So this window box, I can check it's running 12.1. And also I like to verify the license. So license is run every region minus Z option. So you can see the EDA is licensed. Next step will be create the called EDA config file in the UV home directory. So here is the UV home directory, and one particular file I already created. It's pretty simple, called EDA config file. So you can see the option only 3 lines, and driver equal ODBC. A driver name is POSTGRES, and log level I set to 8. You can set 0, 1, 3, 8, and see the different option to get the different EDA driver logging. So next step, you will be find a particular PostgreSQL server on your environment. I can use in the tool called PSQL. PSQL I can use in different version connect to my PostgreSQL server. I right now I using a particular PostgreSQL 12 the client. So here's the called PostgreSQL share script. I can connect to particular server with the PostgreSQL. So I can connect to my PostgreSQL server environment. So I install it here. It's the server database Postgres using default 5432. That's default port, and that's the PostgreSQL user. So I connect it. So first, I like to see what version are running on this machine. There will command called select a version. So it's running a 12.4 version on this environment. I also like to see what database on this PostgreSQL server. They have environment called, it's a different command. They have a multiple command you can see. So for example, you can use in -L command. It will show you all the database. Before I make a demo, I already created called EDA underscore UV database. You also can use a different command to show you the database on this environment. That's another command to show you I have a file database on this server. And I want to use a particular database called EDA underscore UV database. So I can connect. So EDA UV database. So I switch to particular EDA underscore UV database. Then I also can show you what kind of table inside the particular EDA underscore database. And they have a command called DT. Start to start, they will show you everything on this environment. So there's some system schema table already there. If I select particular schema, it's the schema. So it's no table associated with the customer GRE schema. So next, I will go back to you must be on this particular UniVerse environment. This is the UniVerse environment. This environment, I need to have PostgreSQL ODBC client installed on this environment. So next step, you will see I will put the link to download ODBC client. They have a multiple version. I installed is the PostgreSQL 13 ODBC client on this particular UniVerse environment. So after I download it, it's put it on the folder. This folder I call PostgreSQL. That's a particular environment. After I put it, then I install it. After install it, so you will see if you after install it, you will see the PostgreSQL ODBC NC. They have 32-bit, 64-bit NC and Unicode driver installed on this environment. Then I can create a particular system DSN called PostgreSQL 30. So I already created. Then we'll connect to PostgreSQL server is on another machine. And I also want to connect to a database called EDA underscore UV database. So after I set it up, everything is by default. Then I can test it. So actually it's successful here. Yeah, it's successful. So it's connected. So no problem for the setup. So I can save it. So after I download the PostgreSQL ODBC client and set up the system DSM. And next step will be start to EDA schema manager tool to using this system DSN. So next step will be using EDA schema tool and to connect to EDA data source. So you can create another one. For example, you can create the test. So you can create tests. PostgreSQL. Okay, so I create another EDA data source called test. Then I using the system DSN called PostgreSQL 30 and choose the driver. It's com-1NF, and I can add another login. So I can test it. So everything is successful. I can save it. And actually I have another one. It's the computer sense setting. It's working fine. So after I create the EDA data source, then I can do the conversion. So the conversion, I choose a particular file called customer GRE. So I already created one particular schema called customer GRE using all the default setting. So all the default setting is correct. Then I can verify the setting. So verify is successful schema. Then I can do the EDA convert. So EDA converts. It's only 12 records, so it should be very quick to do the EDA conversion. So it's 12 records copy. So if you go back to let's the UniVerse, so you can list customer. Okay, so it's coming back. So this customer should be customer GIE. It's a different one. It's to retrieve the data from a PostgreSQL server. So if you go back to, yep, it's come back. Then if you come back to the PostgreSQL server engine, then you can. So right now already convert two table. One is called customer GIE, is for single value data. The other is for orders data. So hopefully you can quick demo to show you how to work with the PostgreSQL server. Next time I will try to explain how to work on the Unix side. Is a little bit different environment.